Hello, my name's Alexis Hovden, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist and performance coach. Now, you're watching this today because you have decided to take the big step and join myself and my dear friend Joyce Rockwood for our 30-day sexy and sassy 1-month intensive. All right, so first of all, congratulations. It's a huge step to really take ownership of your body, want to change, and to truly want to initiate that change from the inside out. So my goal today with this webinar is to give you some basics on the mind and to really wrap that thing called the mind around the idea of why you're at where you're at today. So I will break down the basics of the mind, how we truly achieve lifelong change at a cellular physical level vis-a-vis the mind, and clue you into just some basics about how we can start making change today. Does that sound good? Okay, great. So let's just jump on in. First of all, as a disclaimer, is that everything that I teach, I have used on myself. So I attribute, I would say, 95% of who I am in life, the life I have manifested, the body that I have, the feelings I have in my body, everything from my hair to my nails, I have used or manifested in some way using a form of conscious creation, self-talk, and or hypnosis. So I believe that you are a creator and you create the life that you desire or the life that you don't desire until you can figure out that you can create the life that you desire. Now, in a funny way, let's break that down into a mental science level. Just some basics on the mind is that 90% of you is subconscious. Is that crazy or what? I'm going to say it one more time. 90% of you is subconscious. So that means that any problem you have, finances, body, relationships, self-esteem, confidence, lack thereof, skin, hair, nails, family, fertility, sports. Okay, the list goes on and on, right? But I would invite you to accept the reality and the fact that that means that any problem that you have is really operating and coming first from a subconscious level. And I'll get into how we change that and what that really means in a bit. But let's also understand that 10% of you is conscious. So that means that the part of my brain that's kicking on right now, my logical, analytical thinking, that uses my brain and my mouth to speak, is operating from that 10% part that gets me through the day. The thing is that the subconscious mind, that's that 90%, is like a record player. So it's creating the same life for you, the same life, the same day, the same thinking, the same emotions, until we interrupt the pattern and give it a new record system to play. Now, I won't go so far as to say that the mind is like a computer, because I don't at this point think that computers have feelings. Us humans, we have lots of feels, lots of feelings. We've got a physical body and we have emotions. But we do know that what happens behind the scenes of the unconscious mind is that we have a thought, which creates a feeling state in the body, if you will, and that it creates a behavior. So really, the person that you are and who you show up as is an inside out version of who you are. What do you think then? So one more time, the thoughts that you think create a state of mind or a feeling state, and then they take on into a behavior. So that would get us to think that to have real change in the physical body, we'd have to change our thoughts, to change our feelings, to change a behavior. So the cool thing about this is utilizing hypnosis. We, number one, get into the unconscious mind, that 90%, rewire, rework, reframe what it thinks about you and what you think about yourself, and really what you think about reality. Because wouldn't you think that if you believed deep, deep, deep down that anything was possible, and that you could live the life of your dreams, and that maybe the impossible for you was possible, then wouldn't that kind of change everything? It would change how you feel about your body. It would change how you feel about your finances. It would change how you feel about relationships with others if you just embrace the fact that anything was possible. So it's just an example, okay? But sticking with the idea of the basics of the mind and the unconscious mind, we now understand that 90% of you is subconscious. 10% of you is conscious. Now, in between the two, we have a critical faculty, critical filter, which is oftentimes coming about as a negative voice. It comes in like a negative cat. It comes in meow. Oh, you can't do that. Hey, so like I'm gonna go to the gym today. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna feel good. No, you can't do that. You always fail at that, don't you? You did that last week and it didn't work out. Remember last January when you said you were gonna do that and you didn't? Okay, that's the critical voice. So we have three aspects of the mind that we work with: the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the critical faculty. Okay, so first of all, when we do hypnosis, we take down the critical faculty, we open up the mind, so we open up the subconscious, so we can bring in a new belief, a new thought, which creates a new feeling and creates a new behavior. Okay, so that's just the basics of the mind and what we're kind of working with here at a deep level. Because with Joyce in this program, you're working with the juicing and the detoxing of the cells. And with me, we're detoxing of the old self. We're detoxing of the old, outdated paradigm, the outdated mindset, that deep, deep part of you that's been asking for change, that's ready for change. And this is how we do change, everyone, at the deep level. It's the inside out approach. This is the missing component to most weight loss programs and diets, because instead of just doing diet and just focusing on fitness and food, we're focusing on changing what you believe is possible in the body, and also the symbols and the images that you have of yourself at the unconscious level. So the most exciting thing about this program that I will say is my just favorite jam of all is the dream bod imagery hypnosis. Now, in this hypnosis, you will be encouraged to really get in touch with the dream bod. Now, right now, okay, you might not be living in the dream bod, but in order for the mind, think about it like this, to manifest that dream bod of yours, it's got to first associate unconsciously with an image and a feeling, bring it in at the unconscious level, and then bam, it begins to manifest. So this is super cool stuff. But this is kind of in this program how we're working on that mind-body experience at that deep level. Now, I just find this to be the most exciting thing ever. It's a secret sauce, and it's the thing that we've kind of all been looking for. Okay, so we're working with the unconscious mind, which inevitably creates a different thought that you think during the day. Now, that being said, I will encourage you in your coaching calls to really take an assessment of your self-talk and to really think about what are you telling yourself moment to moment, day by day. We oftentimes, if you're a client of mine, I ask you to go on a mental diet. Now, in this program, we're doing a sort of a version of a diet, which is the detoxing, even though we don't like to associate that word to diet. But for the mind, it is so important, I can't emphasize this enough, to go on a mental diet of sorts in terms of how you speak to yourself about your physical body. Because the thing is that the body is always listening to what you tell it. So if you focus on your negatives, you focus on where you might have some weight gain, you focus on what you don't like, then you're literally recreating more of what you don't like. Versus focusing on empty space in the mind, possibly. Focusing on a thought that is about what you want. Thoughts that equate to who you want to be. That dream bod that you want to have. What you want your future boyfriend or your current boyfriend, future husband or current husband to say to you about your body. Now, fellas, if you ever listen to this, just switch it around and make it feminine. Anyways, just another disclaimer. Okay, so now we understand that the mind is mainly for the most part, functioning at a subconscious level. We also know that that subconscious is held up by self-talk. So that means that in this program, I will encourage you to do the hypnosis audios once a day and also monitor the thoughts that you're thinking about yourself. So that means when you have that negative thought come in about any body part, we have to switch it. We honor it for what it is, and then we get back into the groove of the day, back into a mental space that's open, clean, clear, collected. Switch the focus, do something else, or if you feel so capable, you can tweak the mind and make it think what you want it to think, such as, I'm so hot and sexy. I'm sexy and sassy just the way that I am. I'm totally enough. I've always been enough. I am sexy, sassy, hot to trot, and look out, world, because today is an awesome day. Just some examples Okay? So really, you can think about these. We oftentimes in the spiritual world or in self-development have talked about these things like affirmations. And they are affirmations. But when we go to the level of self-talk and we really, really understand and allow ourselves to believe that the body is always responding to what you tell it, that means that it'll always respond to the positive things that you tell it as well. There's been studies about this done out of even UCLA, USC, that have done a comparison between athletes that have thought about a muscle being worked out or have just worked out. And the thing is that oftentimes the group that uses the mind has an even better or similar result to those that are working out. So that means that you can work yourself out with your mind. Now, I still encourage obvious movement. I love working out, going to the gym, going to the beach, running, walking, swimming, whatever you love to do it, please. But don't leave out the mental mind component day to day, moment to moment, because that's the biggest driver behind everything else. And it's the biggest part that's been forgotten in modern day dieting, programs, and weight loss plans, okay? So now we know a couple of things, right? We understand how big the subconscious mind actually is versus the conscious mind. We also understand how important our self-talk is. So number one, we have a greater understanding of the mental basics. Number two, we have a better understanding of how the self-talk plays into the mental basics. Number three is homeostasis. Good old homeostasis, habit forming, getting you back to baseline, okay? So the thing about the unconscious mind, the subconscious, apples, tomato, tomato, unconscious means subconscious in the clinical sense, is that your mind at a subconscious level and a conscious level is just trying to keep you safe, keep you alive. It goes back to what it knows and what feels familiar. So whatever you're doing right now, whatever's happening right now, you have created for yourself, so congratulations. But whatever you don't really like, it's happening over and over again because it's become a habit. The mind gravitates towards what it associates familiarity with. Where does it feel safe? Where does it find homeostasis? And it's afraid of change. So what does this all mean, right? Well, the good thing is that, again, utilizing hypnosis, utilizing the self-talk, you can know now that all we need to do is get you familiar, comfy, cozy in the state of being of your choosing. So think of it like this. What are your fears about being in the sexy and sassy body? What might be said to you? What might actually happen if you're walking around sexy and sassy? Are men or women or people out in the world going to catcall you? Will someone in your life be jealous because now you're sexy and sassy and you're getting looked at? These are things to think about. Because again, if we want to stay in the same paradigm, the same reality, we can. But if we kind of want to quantum jump into a new version of ourselves, then it's the beliefs, the thoughts, then the feelings, and the associations that we have about that new version. Once we get crystal clear on those, we, boom, can propel into that new version and that new sense of self. But if you feel blocked, right, which is really just a thought or a feeling or something not in alignment with what you want, then this is the reason, you guys. So now, just to bring it home, we understand that number one, the mind is very simple. 10% of you is conscious, 90% of you is unconscious. In between there, you have the critical filter. So that means that all the problems that you have are operating at a subconscious level. Number two is that we have self-talk. So the talk that you're doing to yourself or that you're engaging in with yourself throughout the day is really how you're speaking to your body. The body is always listening. It never turns off. It doesn't have an ignore and it doesn't have a mute button. The body is listening. With the self-talk was number two. Number three is homeostasis, that the mind and the body experience gravitate towards what feels familiar, gravitates towards what is a habit. Now, this is for every area of life. Wherever the habit is where the mind body goes. It recreates it moment to moment, second to second, day to day. So this would tell us that these three components working together could create lifelong change establish a new understanding really of who you are, because that's what this is about. This is about understanding who you are as an inner being. Who are you deep, deep, deep within? And really bringing home that when we make this change, it's happening from the inside out, so deep, deep, deep within, to create the cellular change of the body so that you have the body that you wish and that you engage in being in the body that you wish, right? Because wouldn't that be the dream end goal, is to have that dream body, feel sexy and sassy, but also have that day-to-day moment-to-moment feeling of being confident, feeling good in your skin, and just feeling like you could really do whatever you want to do. So that's what this is about. Now, how we do this is we, again, use the coaching that we have throughout the month, and then we have the hypnosis audios. So I had suggested, or I had said before, that we have the Dream Bod hypnosis, okay? Now this is taking manifestation. If you're out there and you're a law of attraction fan, or you've looked at the quantum fields, or you understand some of the spiritual sciences, this is taking manifestational abilities to a whole other level. Because through neuroscience and neuroplasticity, again, I touch my brain here for some reason, kind of funny, we understand that when we can equate the unconscious mind and the imagination with an image and a picture of yourself, of the ideal self, and we can step into that self, feel the self, understand the self, get to know the self, and the feeling that you want to feel if you were already in the body, that brings it into reality. So that's how this works. We use the hypnosis audios to bring in the feelings that you want, the thoughts that you want, the ideal self that you want, the confident, loving, dream bod self, and then the subconscious mind takes its actions, because again, it's 90% of you, to get you there. So it's almost like you want to think that we're convincing the brain, and we're understanding that when you want to manifest something, you want to create something, we take the mind there first. And then it brings it into reality now in the present, even though the present is always changing. Okay. So the thing about this at a body level using hypnosis is that you've already done this. The body you have today, you created. In the same way, you had some kind of image, maybe from your family, maybe from something. You have an image of your mind at an unconscious level that has just played itself out, and that's where you are today. So there's good news in that, is that it's changeable. It's figure outable. It's manifestationable. It's hypnotizable. So this is super exciting, you guys. And I really look forward to working with you over the next month and doing our coaching calls and really getting you fine-tuned into the hypnotic process, and then really hearing all of your breakthroughs with detoxing with Joyce, and truly being your champion and your cheerleader to get you all the way to the other side of the rainbow and really feel that visceral change in your body at a cellular level, okay? So just some takeaways to go over the things that we discussed in this webinar. If you want to take some notes, I'm a note taker. I say take some notes, totally up to you. But number one, the mind is simple. It's 90% unconscious, 10% conscious, which means that through hypnosis, we can change the subconscious mind. Number two is that the self-talk that you're engaging throughout the day, from the mind to the body to the mind to the body to the mind, that's where change can also happen. So we begin to use affirmations and through a guided process through our coaching to get you to understand where you at now and where do you want to be, and how can we incorporate the appropriate self-talk to get you to the other side of the rainbow. Okay. Number three is that the mind gravitates towards habit. The mind is looking for homeostasis. So once we can associate the mind to a new habit, new homeostasis, new idea, and we get it comfy, cozy with this already happening, already being a reality, boom, change happens. Okay. All right. So I'll be looking forward to any questions or comments about this webinar as you move through the next 30 days. Please feel free to email me. At this point, you should have my direct email. If not, I'll leave it here. It's Alexis, my name, Alexis, at alexishovden.com. So have a beautiful, wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you soon, and big hugs.